that was titled Improvisation on a Sunny Saturday Morning with Ambient Dog Sounds, recorded on an Antipodean Island. Part 1. I literally started playing guitar about 3 weeks ago, just messing around. That was the first time I've ever recorded myself. I thought it'd be funny just to take the piss a little bit and record something silly. For this experimental vinyl tag, I think this is the first time in a very long time I've done a vinyl tag video. Yeah, it's exciting. 10 records. I think there's 9 questions. I'm going to chuck some music on in the background, and then we'll get started. Alright, this is what's playing in the background. Look at this horrible artwork. I'll turn it down a little bit. This was put out a few years ago by my really good friend here in Wellington on Epic Sweet Records. It's just absolutely crazy, dense electronics and squelchy drum samples, and it's a tough listen. But yeah, something I haven't heard basically in about 3 or 4 years, so I thought I'd pull it out and chuck it on. In the background, I am aware of it being too loud, so we'll see how we go. Anyway, yeah, a vinyl tag video. It may have been my first one. I think, I know I was watching a stream over at Vinyl Community College with Fred a few days ago, and it was actually kind of 4 o'clock in the afternoon my time, and they were just kind of hanging out and chatting about experimental music and playing some cool records, and I kind of jumped in while I was working, and I was really enjoying the vibe those guys were doing, and I left a few comments here and there, and it felt nice. I guess I haven't really felt that sort of community spirit personally in the VC, because I haven't been interacting as much as I should be. But it just felt nice. It was a nice feeling. And then I saw Alex put up an experimental vinyl tag video, and I was like, all right, that's it. Motivate myself. Get on and do a video. So yeah, I've got some records here to show. I'm sure most people know Alex, Motorik247. If you don't know him, please do check him out. He shows some amazing stuff. But yeah, records. Okay, what are the questions? Show a record with improvised music. That could be a lot of things, I guess, but I hadn't played a lot of these in a while, so it was kind of fun for me to pull them out. I did pick up this one to show. I remember this is Human Music. John Appleton and Don Cherry came out on Flying Dutchman in 1978. Now, I wouldn't normally associate Flying Dutchman with this music particularly. This is kind of, it's just electronics with Cherry coming in on some bits of flutes and kalimbas and bassoons throughout the whole thing. But yeah, it's very abstract. It's kind of a tough listen. When I first saw this in a store once, and I listened to it in the store, and it was not the Don Cherry I wanted it to be, and I put it back, and something stuck with it in my mind. I knew there was something more to it, and then I kind of left it for a couple of years, and then I finally found it again, and I grabbed it. But yeah, I think this is very rewarding. It's just lots of bleepy, bleepy, bleepy sounds over 2 sides. It is really wonderful, and it's completely improvised. There's a really, really wonderful photo of Don Cherry here on the back. Yeah, absolutely great. Yeah, I don't know. I just like that this was a pure improvised meeting of synthesizers, electronics, and traditional, or African instruments, fused together. What do we got? Oh, it says here kalimbas, earthquake drums, cornet with traditional mouthpiece, and bassoon reed. So there you go. Comes up with kind of its own thing in the end. Yeah, super cool. I did pick another one just because I thought, I mean, I know that, like, I've watched a few of the videos already, I've watched Dante's video, I've watched Alex's obviously, I watched Fred's video, and I know that I don't have a super deep experimental selection like these guys do. We just don't get that stuff down here at the bottom of the world. But I do have some cool New Zealand pieces that, you know, I guess you guys can't get up there. So I thought I would show a couple of those as well. So this is my second entry. This is actually called Instant Compositions, you know, which it says exactly what it is. That there were things made up on the spot, on the fly. This kind of is a completely handmade cover here. Every cover was unique. I think there was about 200 made. This is called Instant Compositions by Salon Kingsador. And what does it sound like? I haven't heard this in a while, but it's kind of like imagine like the soundscape of like the Electric Miles Bitches Brew, but a bit more heavier and a bit more furious, and yeah, completely spaced out and live. It's super great. Yeah, and just you know, from an aesthetic point of view, I love how cool this handmade thing is here and glued on the back. Yeah, so that's that one. Salon Kingsador Instant Compositions. I want to say it was like 2017 or something like that. Super great. Featuring a Moog synthesizer. This was a tough one for me. I don't have that many things that are purely Moog. I tend to steer away from anything that's a bit kitsch or cheesy or purely Moog. I don't know. I know some people love those sorts of records, so I picked something that has Moog in the background that, again, I hadn't heard in years, so it kind of was exciting for me to pull this out. I have shown this before a few times. This is from Australia. This is called Yarandu. And this has Moog in a very subtle way, kind of floating in and out of the background. Yeah, this is done by Rob Tomsit. And I don't know how you would describe this. It's kind of a mixture of ambient field recordings, proggy sounds, but like really subtle, like slow prog. I don't know if that's a thing. Yeah, it sounds very dreamy and very spacey, and it kind of takes you into a really nice headspace. Yeah, really wonderful. This is obviously a reissue on the Round Table from 2011. Originally came out in 1974. Yeah, I guess themes of Aboriginal culture and yeah, throughout it. Modding of the Red Earth, Nameless Children, New Life, Drought, Spirit of Death, things like that. It's a very spiritual, unique record. Yeah, what should I say about the Moog parts? I guess I liked how, yeah, I guess backgroundy they were. Yeah, there's also a Mellotron here. Cool. Alright, field recordings. This one was weirdly really hard for me. I swear I have a lot more things with field recordings on, but I couldn't think. I pulled this out just because I still feel really weird about it. This is Barney Willen's Moshi. Maybe not the first thing you would think of with field recordings, but there's actually a lot of field recordings here recorded throughout Africa. But Barney Willen decides he's going to play literally over the top of the field recordings, which sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's terrible, and overall it feels a bit rude or presumptuous to me. I don't know, like it's kind of like, I kind of want to hear what the field recordings and the traditional tribal music is, but Barney Willen comes in and just plays kind of over the top of it. I suppose in his mind he's improving the music or making it more interesting. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. It's kind of interesting. It is a great record though, I do enjoy it. But yeah, it's kind of an unusual idea of having a field recording and literally just playing your instrument over the top of it. Barney Willen, Moshi. This is much more field recording based. I showed this many years ago too. A favorite, I think a few people have bought this in the VC upon my recommendation. It's called Clay Pipe. And this is just a really beautiful ambient field recording thing out of the bottom of the South Island of New Zealand. The album's called A Daylight Blessing. The track I really like is called A Daylight Blessing, but the field recording aspect is this is recorded on some sand dunes on a beach outside of Dunedin, and so you know, it doesn't say late evening, but I'm pretty sure it was recorded late evening because you get the sounds of insects flying around, you get the sounds of the waves. Sand dunes in 2010. It's a very peaceful, relaxing record. It's a really interesting example of a New Zealand field recording, I guess, with experimental music. So that's Claypipe, A Daylight Blessing from 2010 on MIE Music. Alright, we got Drone next. I could have picked a whole bunch of stuff, but I had to go with New Zealand heavyweights, cult classic. This is Dead Sea, White House. They, I suppose you would generally call it free noise or free noise rock, but the guitars are the parts that drone, and they sort of run through the whole album. Absolutely wonderful. This is one of my favorites, favorite Dead Sea record. Check out the track Bitcher, Bitcher. I would also say the vocals act as a sort of drone because they sort of are very slow and sprawling and act as an instrument more so than a guitar. But this is really great. I think it has been reissued. This came out on the wonderful Silk Boys label. That's an amazing label of experimental stuff. I mean, there's lots of cool. I'm just feeling excited. I was like, I should show this, but it doesn't answer the questions. I don't know. That's that one. Spoken word. I was gonna pick the Robert Ashley too, but Alex showed that, and I thought, you know what? I haven't played this in a very, very long time, and I don't particularly remember it, so I pulled out this here, A New Black Poet by Gil Scott Heron. This is called Small Talk at 125th and Lennox, and this was sent to me by an old VC member called John Ra. Still has the lovely note in it. Really cool. Obviously, spoken word with political bent. Also, weirdly on Flying Dutchman. I don't own many Flying Dutchman records, but I have shown 2 in this video. Look how young he is there, hey. That's my my spoken word pick. Gil Scott Heron, what a legend. Alright, we're getting through these. I think the next one is something like with a processed sound, with a processed instrument or voice. Now, I'm sure this is processed, but I can't find anything to say definitively it is. This is a fantastic, fantastic record. If you don't know it, please check it out. It's so easy to like. This is Nomos by Craig Leon. I really can't explain what this is, but it's just a really heavy, percussive... Like, I want to say it's processed. A lot of it's processed because everything just sounds so, like, metallic and clangy and, like... It just, I don't know, it has this really metallic taste to it. It just sounds like... This is not sounding very appealing, is it? It's got a groove, it's very deep and very heavy, but it has this really sort of, I guess, clanging, heavy, sharp sound to it. So I assume the percussion is processed in a certain way. I'm sure someone can confirm that for me if they wanted to. This was originally out on the wonderful Tacoma label, believe it or not. I guess you would normally associate with people like John Fahey and Leo Kotke. I can't pronounce his surname. This is very, very, very different to that. Craig Leon Nomos. Alex, I know you're a big fan of this record too. I must say I really enjoyed pulling these records out to listen to them again because I guess, as you know, I kind of jump between lots of different genres. Jazz, reggae, hip-hop, compilations, box sets, New Zealand experimental music, electronic, New Zealand, other stuff, folk. What else have we got here? African, Eastern, Latin, Brazilian, other world, funk soul, funky, kraut prog, Psych. What's this here? I don't even know what I call that. Ambient experimental. Post-punk. Hardcore rock. I don't know what that is. Garage rock. Classic rock. I don't know what that is. Just a general rock section. I don't know. I should really do a room tour video at some point. That was a really weird diversion. Sorry. Anyway, I was saying. What was I saying? I was just talking about why I have a wide collection. I don't know why I said that. Feeling a bit rusty. Anyway, alright, so Nurse with Wound list. I do have quite a few Nurse with Wound list albums. And honestly, I had not even really looked at the Nurse with Wound list until about 2 years ago. And it's albums I've had in here for about 10 years, and I didn't realise. I just picked them up because they've been reissued recently and someone else maybe showed them in the VC and I really liked them. And I was kind of really impressed or astounded by how many records I have on the Nurse with Wound list without even realising it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to show something that I don't show very often, and I was surprised it was on the Nurse with Wound list for some reason. It was the first Kraftwerk album. I don't think I show this very often, and I hadn't listened to it in a very, very long time, but I really enjoyed it. This is a Japanese pressing. Yeah, so it was really fun to pull this out. Engineered by Connie Plank. This is, if you don't know this, it's not the Kraftwerk you think it is. The instruments are less electronic and more sort of, there's flutes, violins, organs, electric percussion, that sort of thing. It's super, super, super wonderful, super tight. Yeah, there you go. So that was on. Also, Iggy Pop, the Stooges Funhouse was on there, which also surprised me. It's obviously, doesn't surprise me, but it's compared to with the albums that were around it on the list, which were a lot more avant-garde. Yeah, I don't know. Why is this here? Oh, this was my other Nurse with Wound contribution. I just like showing this cover. I think this is an amazing, amazing electronic record. If you don't know this, you should know this. I think this is really wonderful. It is as cool as the record cover. Yeah, this is Patrick Vian. And you've got this awesome artwork on the front and on the back. Here he is on a boat. Okay, last one. A toy instrument. Now, this was also a struggle for me. But what I found is a record on Flying Nun from New Zealand called Pacific 3210 Part 1. And they actually play, you can see, this is an overhead shot here, and they play these massive PVC pipes here, and a whole bunch of other instruments. The album is called Pacific 3210, and the collective is called From Scratch. This is a really, really beautiful record, and it's really great by international standards. Now the instruments on here that I'm going to put in as a toy instrument. I don't know if I can really claim this, but I will try and go for it. They've got a rattle, is that a kid's toy? It could be. I'm sure kids used to have like a rattle with a little thing in it. It makes a noise. I'm going to claim that as a toy instrument. But yes, they also have bells, cymbals, trombone, tubes, acoustic drones that are spun to make sustained hums. Oh, that's a cool entry for the drone bit. Bamboo tube resonator with a plywood stabilizing fin. There's lots of homemade instruments here. But yeah, I'm going to go with a rattle, which I associate with baby, so that will do as a kid's toy instrument. Yeah, that was all. Thank you so much for making the tag. I had a lot of fun pulling these out. And most importantly, I had a lot of fun revisiting these records, which I hadn't heard in a long time. But yeah, viva la VC.